Well, hello there. I spontaneously decided to record this video since today marks the moment I have finally finished reading this book here. Even though it's a short, quick one, it still took me quite a while. I'm not a big reader, what can I say? But when a book captivates, it holds this special essence within it for why it captivated me in the first place. And since I finished it today, I don't want to lose the momentum of my thoughts about this book. And yeah, decided to do my first ever book review. Who knows, maybe I'll revisit some of my old ones and do a little book review on them as well. But let's focus on this one, The Invisible Cities by Italo Calvino. I got this in Tate Modern Gallery. It was just in the shops. So it looks cool. It's about cities, it's about buildings, it's about, in my sense, it was just about, connected in some way to do with architecture. Let me read the preface, what is it called, the back one, and to give you an idea of what this book is. Discover 55 fictional cities, each described in beautiful detail, each with a woman's name. In Invisible Cities, Marco Polo conjures up cities of magical times for his host, the Chinese ruler Kublai Khan. But gradually it becomes clear that he is actually describing one city, Venice. Calvino's metafictional travel guide is a captivating meditation of culture, language, time, memory, and the nature of human experiences. So yes, I just by that preface alone, short little one, it just captivated me. I was like, yo, I need this book. And yeah, generally it just has these texts for each individual city, and in between they have an interaction between these two characters, Marco Polo and Khan. And I find the interactions quite amusing as well. It's like a breath of fresh air between, a little break that you take between actually taking in the next city that's upcoming. But yes, and in this book review, instead of just talking about this, I will be reading you small extracts that caught my eye, or caught my ear per se. And yeah, in between the extracts that I'll be reading, I'll share a few thoughts. Hopefully this video won't be too long. It's already 3 minutes, so let's just jump straight into it, shall we? I'll start with, instead of an extract from a city he was explaining, I will begin with a interaction that the two characters, Polo and Khan, had between each other. Do this. You advance always with your head turned back, or is what you see always behind you? Or rather, does your journey take place only in the past? All this so that Marco Polo could explain, or imagine explaining, or be imagined explaining, or succeed finally in explaining to himself that what he sought was always something lying ahead. And even if it was a matter of the past, it was a past that changed gradually as he advanced on his journey, because the traveler's past changes according to the route he has followed. Not the immediate past, that is, to which each day that goes by adds a day, but the more remote past. Arriving at each new city, the traveler finds again a past of his that he did not know he had. The foreignness of what you no longer are or no longer possess lies in wait for you in foreign, unpossessed places. Marco enters a city. He sees someone in a square living a life or an instant that could be his. He could now be in that man's place if he had stopped in time long ago, or if, long ago, at a crossroad, instead of taking one road, he had taken the opposite one, and after long wandering he had come to be in the place of that man in that square. By now, from that real or hypothetical past of his, he is excluded. He cannot stop. He must go on to another city, where another of his pasts awaits. Or something perhaps that had been a possible future of his, and is now someone else's present. Futures not achieved are only branches of the past, dead branches. Okay, so that's the only extract that I'll read in this interaction between the two characters. I think that'll be the longest extract I read as well, but nonetheless, I found this one interesting, quite interesting in a way, in a sense that it shows a connection between all the people you meet in all of the places and all the scenarios, as there's always a possibility that that could have been you. If perchance you made a different choice in your life and took a different route, that could have been very well you, sitting, chilling, taking in the atmosphere of a different city, of a different atmosphere. I already said atmosphere. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, to understand how to explain what I think about the books and extracts, because I struggle with showcasing my thoughts. So who knows, by the end of this I might get better. Let's move on, shall we? Cities and Desire, the city of Fedora. In the center of Fedora, that grey stone metropolis, stands a metal building with a crystal globe in every room. Looking into each globe, you see a blue city, the model of a different Fedora. These are the forms the city could have taken if, for one reason or another, it had not become what we see today. In every age, someone, looking at Fedora as it was, imagined a way of making it the ideal city. But while he constructed his miniature model, Fedora was already no longer the same as before, and what had been until yesterday a possible future became only a toy in a glass globe. There's a little extract of the first city. I found this one just pretty damn cool, really. Just globes of all the possibilities that could have constructed themselves within the city. If there's people that come in with many ideas and not all of them are able to come to fruition for one reason or another, and it just explains all the lost, I guess, dreams that people had for their specific places. And all that's left is just the imagination of that, envisioned in this globe for other people to witness. Let's move on. Cities and the Sky, the city of Perinthia. In Perinthia's streets and square today, you encounter cripples, dwarfs, hunchbacks, obese men, bearded women. But the worst cannot be seen. Guttural howls are heard from the cellars and lofts, where families hide children with 3 heads or with 6 legs. Perinthia's astronomers are faced with a difficult choice. Either they must admit that all their calculations were wrong and their figures are unable to describe the heavens, or else they must reveal that the order of the gods is reflected exactly in a city of monsters. I don't have much to say about this specific extract, but yeah, what I found very interesting about this book is the way, who's the author? The way Italo Calvino, that's the name. The way Calvino was able to describe a single city in 55 different ways. Either it was through the stories that were connected to the city or his understanding of the city. Some of these cities that he talks about have a deep-rooted meaning or deep symbolism, or just it mentions a specific story that is known about that city or how people perceive that city. And it's all about these different points of view, and like if it was not mentioned, it will be crazy to think that all these 55 different places are all just really about one place. And I found that mind-blowing, really. And yeah, by like the fifth one I would have been struggling, to be fair. I would have been struggling, but it's a cool concept, definitely. To the next city. Hidden Cities, City of Risa. In the volume where the philosopher says, also in Risa, city of sadness, there runs an invisible thread that binds one living being to another. For a moment, then unravels, then is stretched again between moving points as it draws new and rapid patterns, so that at every second, the unhappy city contains the happy city, unaware of its own existence. I found that as a philosophical poetism. I kind of want to read that again Another point that I wanted to mention about this book is that I think it's actually quite a perfect book for architects, really. It helps you envision a city based on how it was constructed, and there's many ways that Calvino describes the cities. Like, he goes into detail into just the things that encapsulate a city in itself, the way the buildings, the way the structure works, the way the people live within that city itself. So it kind of adds to the envisioning imagery to what could be possible, I guess. So yeah, so I would call this book as undercover architects, I don't fucking know, dictionary. But yeah, nonetheless, let's move on. Cities and the Sky, City of Andria. Our city and the sky corresponds so perfectly, they answered, that any change in Andria involves some novelty among the stars. The astronomers, after each change takes place in Andria, peer into their telescope and report a nova's explosion, or a remote point in the firmament's change of color from orange to yellow, the expansion of a nebula, the bending of a spiral of the Milky Way. Each change implies a sequence of other changes. In Andria, as among the stars, the city and the sky never remain the same. As for the characters of Andria's inhabitants, two virtues are worth mentioning: self-confidence and prudence. Convinced that every innovation in the city influences the sky's pattern, before taking any decision, they calculate the risks and advantages for themselves and for the city and for all worlds. I thought it's a beautiful sense of being able to connect a city to the space up above us. See, that's the thing. I struggle with, like, when it's already written, I struggle with explaining it in more detail. In a sense, there's no need to explain it in more detail. These are just extracts from portions of how the city is described. You wouldn't even understand exactly the story behind this city by just reading that. You need the rest of it. So these extracts are simply to just captivate your attention and make you want to read this book, hopefully, you know. This is also to help me improve how I read, how I state my voice, how I put it across, how I pronounce words, sentences, punctuation, the form it takes. It's simply to better myself and my skill of performing, of speaking, of exhibiting. Let's move on to the last city. Continuous cities. The city of Penthesilea. And so you continue, passing from outskirts to outskirts, and the time comes to leave Penthesilea. You ask for the road out of the city. You pass again the string of scattered suburbs like a freckled pigmentation. Night falls. Windows come alight. Here more concentrated, sparser there. You have given up trying to understand whether, hidden in some sack or wrinkle of these dilapidated surroundings, there exists a Penthesilea the visitor can recognize and remember, or whether Penthesilea is only the outskirts of itself. The question that now begins to gnaw at your mind is more anguished. Outside Penthesilea, does an outside exist? Or no matter how far you go from the city, will you only pass from one limbo to another, never managing to leave it? Well, there it is. That's the last extract I have picked out for this book. As I said, I'm not a big reader. I struggle with finishing the books or just actually finding one that I enjoy. And I'm glad that I realized from the prefix that I would be enjoying this kind of book. And I kind of sensed it. It's like it made that connection for me. And I hope from the extracts that I have chosen to read to you, you have understood that this might be something for you as well. A short little book. I got this specifically for when I went on a holiday for my travels, to read on that, to finish it hopefully, but clearly weeks later I only managed to do so. I would rate this a solid 8.5 out of 10. It probably is actually higher than that score. I'm just incapable of actually giving an accurate perception of it. Perhaps in the future I will reread this, as it's a very rereadable book, and I will come back with greater idea of just what I enjoy, greater idea of what I want from the books, and just knowledge of how a book should work inside my head. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but yeah, try it out. Try it out. That's all I'll say. Thank you for listening to my first ever book review, and let's read more. Goodbye.